Oh yeah.
Hi, Rapelang, how are you?
Good, good, great.
Good.
I, I I think that we should just make it clear to the people that this is your show. We just had to do it the other way around
Just had to
because
do
of
it the
technological
other way.
issues.
Exactly. Okay, so let me
Mhm.
start. Let me introduce you. Okay, so thank you for joining us for the edition of the impact of COVID. So today, our edition, we're doing innovating during COVID-19. We're very excited to have Rapelang join us. I met Rapelang with Propreneur X. So we are on the incubation program, and Rapelang is also the founder of EEC, which is the entrepreneurship ecosystem company. He is well versed in his businesses and various ventures, and yeah, so we're very excited, Rapelang. And you're usually a facilitator, and again today you're a teacher, so you're actually just doing what you usually do. This is like business as usual for you today.
No, all is well. Very, it's never easy to be on the other side when you are used to enjoy the privilege of being the one asking people questions, and then all the questions have to be directed to you. It's quite strange. So I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm ready for this.
Look at you, all smart. You're in the office.
Yeah, for us, we are back because there's some work that we are doing. So we had to come back because there are a couple of projects that we are working on. So we don't have the privilege, unfortunately, of being at home. So yeah, we are on the road, we are working, we are in the office, and we keep it going.
Okay, I don't know if it's my signal or yours, but I keep losing you. So just repeat the last bit. You said you're in the office and you are.
Yeah, yeah, I think I keep losing you a little bit as well. I don't know maybe if it's from my side or your side, but I keep losing you quite a little bit. But yeah, I hope it won't get worse than that.
Yeah, I hope you be like this the whole time. Yes. Unfortunately, all our service providers are working to capacity. So now we're really testing all the speed we're paying for. Sometimes not so good, sometimes good. So yeah.
Sure. Oh goodness.
Yeah. So Rapilang, tell us a little bit about your company, maybe just like a little bit about you first and what got you started with your company and stuff.
Well, I think for me, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Even when I was at school, I wanted to, I knew that at some point I would go into business because I knew what I had to go and study. I knew how to get ready and prepare myself. And I never worked anywhere. So all along, I had been an entrepreneur. Even at school, I used to sell sweets. I used to sell anything that you can think about. Even you remember the floppy disk. I used to sell the
Oh
floppy disk
wow.
as well.
Okay.
So, so I used to sell anything that they used to be sold as a teenager, as a youngster. So that's where I discovered my entrepreneurial flair. That it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be um, well positioned in starting something of a formal business. And right from varsity, I just decided right away that I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to start my business. And that's the direction that I took against the convention of, so many students as they were getting nice and cushy jobs and a very good start. So we had a very tough start. You can imagine you are just starting uh, with no resources, no experience, no nothing, and you really wanted to make it happen. So, but I knew that it will take me as an entrepreneur to just make it happen.
Yeah. Well, listen, everybody has to start somewhere, and at least you can say, I've never worked for anybody. I've literally always hustled and always made a plan. So it's good.
No,
Because sometimes
exactly.
it can
That's
be,
how it goes.
it's very difficult to unlearn the principles. You know, you used to like 85, this is what I do, I report to whoever. So to have to around and think about other things, it's an adjustment as well. So you've never had to learn that. You've always known that, listen, I've got to work because I've got deadlines, I've got this, and I've got time. That's all I've got to do. And if I don't perform, I have no one to blame but myself.
If you don't perform, then the bills are waiting on the other side. So they will tell you that you didn't perform.
Yeah.
So it's just another way of looking at it.
So what do you do? TEC.
So with TEC, we are a consulting company in the enterprise development space. So we basically help entrepreneurs find help, and we operate in the ecosystem space because it's all about how do we leverage out of all the assistance that is out there that entrepreneurs can get, because it also takes a lot of work and skill to know where to go when you need help. And studying the entrepreneurial ecosystem, the reality is that any help that you need is there somewhere, but it becomes very difficult for entrepreneurs to locate this type of help, whether it's assistance in terms of funding, assistance in terms of non-financial support, incubation, acceleration, where are the networking that are industry specific that you can be part of, so that you can access the right networks for your industry and business, and also access opportunities for access to markets. So all of that, that's what our business is all about, to ensure that entrepreneurs really understand where to unlock opportunities for their business within the ecosystem. So that's why we say that we just help entrepreneurs find help, because sometimes it's not as obvious as it may seem.
Yeah. So, Rapelang, can anybody get in touch with somebody who's just started their business, or you're looking for somebody that's maybe been in business for a year or so, somebody that's established already? How with you? And also, are you industry specific? Like, do you only work in certain sectors, or do you just do overall? How does that work?
Yeah, I was losing you there. I don't know if it's from my side or your side, but I think you are back now.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, just come again, because I lost you a little bit there.
Okay. I was saying, working with SMMEs, do you work with people who've just started companies, somebody who's a little established, somebody who has a bit of experience? Also, are you industry specific, like maybe only construction or IT? Who exactly do you work with?
Well, I have had a broad involvement in a lot of projects and programs that are enterprise development based. So beside the one that I'm in right now, which is the Property Accelerator Program, which is the Propreneur X, where we met. So we have also done a lot of work with YIDI within the banking space, assisting the employees that are retrenched within the banking space to starting their own businesses. And that's some of the work that we have done. I've also done work with YIDI within the entrepreneurs that are in the tech space. So through the IBM sponsored programs and all of that. So I've worked in that space. And then also some of the access to market and market readiness programs from the SAB Kickstart. So I've worked in some of those programs. So I have worked across the board, from the guys that are dealing with concepts and very well established entrepreneurs, like the ones that we have at the Propreneur X. So my experience range across all sectors, all industries, and it's really not industry specific.
Okay. So we already have a question from Ntogozo Toga. I don't know, you might know. He says, I love what TEC does. As a small business, you never know where to get the support you need to ensure your business's growth and sustainability. With COVID-19, what has been the impact to your industry?
Well, in our industry specifically, it has been obviously because it involves a lot of training and gathering of people. So most of the that is no longer possible. But the innovation is that you have to try as much as possible to move online and make everything virtual, just like we are doing right now. So we have been disrupted quite a lot, and we are not able to do some of the trainings that we normally do because we are largely operating in a training space. But then I had to find a way as an entrepreneur to apply myself into other spaces, just like at the moment right now. I'm involved in a national project that is being rolled out, which is more COVID-19 based and is education based. So we are more involved in the PR and the digital strategy of communicating the message of the project. So, so if one door closes on the other side, you have to find a way as an entrepreneur, you know, to make some way of making sure that you know, you are busy, you are working, and then there is work for you out there. So we are disrupted, but as entrepreneurs, we are more innovative to craft solution to keep us working.
Yeah, definitely. I think the buzzwords lately is like realign, strategize, and pivoting. We have to pivot and we have to shift things around, because if you can't work right now, you have to just think of ways of what you can do to work on stuff and to make sure that you're still earning an income and you're still. I think the worst thing is having employees and not being able to pay them, because how do you explain that? Yeah, you're sitting at home and there's nothing I can do. So we all just have to think of ways, innovative ways, think of solutions, what we can do for our businesses. So just talking about that innovation, what are some of the things that you are looking, what are the trends that you see, what is the latest stuff that's happening right now? I know we can't obviously work because of COVID-19, but I know some people are back slowly. What are some of the things that you can do that's not your usual business that would work for you or help you sustain your business right now?
Yeah, obviously, I've seen people, just like you said, now there are all these words that have been bandied about. Another word, pivoting. People are pivoting, re-strategizing. So I've seen people pivot a lot from their core and moving into the non-core, just to stay afloat and just to survive the times. And sometimes it's within the core, but you just realign to meet the needs client with what they're dealing with currently. And some of the observations that I've done, obviously, I've come across a lot of entrepreneurs that have started new ways of providing the same services that we have seen in terms of whether it's PPE, is mask, is face shield, is sanitizers, is disinfectants, or you guys, you are doing the dust shields, which is quite innovative, the full body disinfectant. Yes. So within that space, it's not all about just trying to get a sanitizer out there, but there are people who have been innovative enough to take the same sanitizer and build an infrastructure and then do something to really run the sanitizer within that particular infrastructure. Like when you go now into the supermarkets, so there's conveyor belts that runs your grocery into the till. So if you have seen in some of those, it runs with a sanitizer underneath, so it's sanitized every time as it moves. So people are also building that infrastructure into that I'm not going to just sell sanitizer, but I'm going to go into the supermarket and then build them an infrastructure that is able to be sanitized. I mean, there are people in the legal space right now who are offering services because there are a lot of regulations and there are a lot of explanation and education to be done in as far as legal issues are concerned, and there are a lot of rising legal issues. So other people have found ways to innovate in that space. People who are entrepreneurs who are operating in the HR and digital space, there are a lot of issues around how do you deal with employees, and a lot of issues that has to do with ensuring that the employees, they qualify for the URFs and all of that. So there's a lot of guys that have been dealing with that, labor issues and all of that. And also within the risk and compliance, employees still have to come back from wherever they are into the buildings. There has to be a lot of risk and compliance that is done on that. And just something very interesting as well. I was having a chat with another lady who works for a very big company. So he was privy to some of the IT infrastructure that has to be brought on board. So these other entrepreneurs, big corporates, say that we want to supply you with laptops. So, but what they did is that they just bought normal laptop that you'd get for 7,000 or 10,000, whatever, and then they just said, we are just going to put certain programs into these laptops. We're going to put Java that is going to do this, that is going to do that, to make your employees more effective and more efficient in communication and keeping up with productivity and making them more productive while they're working from home. And a normal laptop, because they just claim that they have put some interesting stuff in the laptop, installed some programs and softwares, they sold that laptop for 27,000 per unit. And that corporate company needed about 2,000 units for their staff. And they did that, I tell you, overnight they became millionaires. So you can't just go and say that I want to supply you with laptops, but they had to think about it to say that people are going to be working from home, and how do we make these laptops to do more than a normal laptop can do, and then position it for COVID solution. Because we a lot of examples. I mean, there are a lot of accountants as well. They're just no longer providing the normal way of just doing your books. Also, services regarding to the relief readiness funding. You know, people are struggling with their compliance to meet this COVID relief requirements, and they're now positioning themselves to just assist entrepreneurs to do some of those services. So there are a lot of innovation. Entrepreneurs are coming and stuff to stay afloat in this time.
So if you are an inventor, or you're an app person, or just a tech savvy person, this is a good space for you to be in right now. You could thrive and come up with new solutions. I think everyone wants easy, swift, and services. That's what we want.
No, that's it. And there's a lot of stuff to be done out there. You know, I was listening to another it's a Kenyan program. So there are entrepreneurs that side that has developed a tracing app. So to help their Department of Health be able to trace the positive COVID positive people and the exposure of risk around the people who would then come in contact with the COVID positive people. So what the app is able to do, it will say, if you have been found to be, so you download the app, and then it's geolocation enabled, and then you are able to, when someone has been confirmed to be positive, because their information is there in the system and their numbers and everything, so there will be your app will be able to notify you that you are at risk because there's someone who has been identified to be COVID positive. And also, when you go into a particular area, it will notify you that there's a hotspot for COVID-19, and you have to be very careful around what you do in that area. And for tracing as well, they are doing that with their department, as they have been endorsed, to ensure that it measures the distance, I think about 1.5 meters, to say that if someone later was found that they tested positive when they're doing the tracing, then they can see from the app the geolocation information of the app and see all the people that you have been in contact with, and then they can be able to contact those people to say that you have so that you can come for testing. So those are some of the innovations that entrepreneurs have been coming with.
That is oh my goodness. Wait, can you hear for a second? Is it my signal? Because I can hear you and then you're breaking off. Okay.
Yeah, I think you are back now. You had just cut there a little bit, but I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Well, it's really interesting. And so tell me now, this when do you think, like, this is us, like normal entrepreneurs, the ones that do the everyday work, when do you think it'll be back to business as usual? Just in your mind, like, do you think it'll be this year? Do you think it'll be in 3 months? Or just get back to normal and back to work? And because I think another concern here is we're just worried that a lot of stuff has been put on pause in terms of corporates, but some of the budgets are being shifted to use for health and safety and preventative measures for this COVID. So is it a valid concern to think that if once we get back to normal, we might not even have the budget for the projects that were planned in advance because we had this unexpected delay or this unexpected event, and now resources have almost had to be just shifted and put somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it is a tricky one because there are lots of speculations around when this will come to an end. And I mean, I was listening to CNN the other day, and the experts were placing it at 2 years. So I was watching CNN again, and then they were saying that they had found some progress on fast tracking or accelerating the vaccine, because they have done some tests, and then there were already antibodies that were responding from the body that they had tested these vaccines. So seemingly it will be accelerated, because everyone is saying that should we wait for the vaccine first, or we continue to take preventive measures. So, but which they say that it could be that before the end of the year, the vaccine could be found, and then that can give more confidence for people coming back to work and then restarting the economy. So it's quite a tricky one, because we don't know what to wait for, whether to wait for it to go down or whether to wait for the vaccine. So, but I think while we are waiting, we can't wait with our arms folded, and we have to ensure that we take all the opportunities that are out there. And I've always been saying to entrepreneurs that you might be saying that corporates, they are not willing to listen to a sales pitch now because people are dealing with COVID-19. That might be true, but I tell you, if you reconfigure your solution to say that, how do you help them to deal with the COVID situation through whatever service offering that you do? And I tell you, there's always a way to think around it. I mean, recently we've been providing services for this other big client as well. So it's within the ESD and the social corporate responsibility. So now, because they are not doing more projects, so we're like, let's approach them and help them to deal with the COVID-19 using their CSI budget, because they are not spending it, because the projects and the programs, all of them, they had to do with the gathering of people, and then it couldn't happen because somehow it has to be paused or stopped for a while. So we were like, no, let's come up with something that will help them deal with the COVID situation, you know. And then we went there with people. So we didn't go, but obviously it was just a virtual meeting. And then they loved the idea, because a lot of corporates, they don't know what to do at this time. And that's where we as entrepreneurs, we can be much more creative in devising solutions, crafting solutions that we can bring to these corporates and say that we can help you deal with COVID-19. And I tell you, they told us point blank that we don't know what to do. If you guys, your solution can work, that will be great. We're good to go. So those are the things that we need to think about creatively and begin to craft solutions, because corporate South Africa is not closed for business. And a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking that, oh, corporate is closed for business. They are not. I talked to another lady last week from a big pharmaceutical company, and then because I was just trying to find out where are the opportunities for small businesses in these big companies. So he was like, we do procure the and there's a panic buying, you know, from our company, especially around anything that has to do with health and safety employee, they don't even care how much you charge. They just want to ensure that whatever they need is procured. And it's just that for now, it's these companies approaching them, you know, your prestige and these big hygiene companies. So these are the big companies that are approaching them, but there's companies, they don't have the confidence to reach out to some of these big companies to say that this is who we are, and then this is how we can help you deal with the COVID. I think whatever you do in this time, you have to think about how do you help companies get through the COVID-19 crisis that they are dealing with. And I tell you, they are willing to listen if you come up with something innovative to that extent.
Okay. And then just back to innovation again. I've got another question from Dozo. That's an interesting concept, because main concern was thinking about go back to a quick question. Do you think some of the cons of all this innovation? Okay, I think what she's saying here is innovation and all this planning and new ways of doing stuff. How does that affect our everyday people and socially? I think not going to turn us into very almost nocturnal animals where people, I think people are just going to be replaced by machinery and stuff like that, and we're just not going to be as if, and that's a little bit concerning for especially businesses who rely on having that interactive, one-on-one, personal, interaction. How do you cope with that going forward?
Yeah, you know, let me just tell you some epiphany I had yesterday. I was just passing at the robot. So, and then there was this other guy, you know, the guys who beg for money that that stand at the robot. So this guy, I just saw a selfie stick and a container cup, you know. So I didn't understand what was it. Only to find that this guy, he's a beggar. So, but now he took this selfie stick and then he tied a cup at the end of it, so that when he approaches your car, he observes social distancing, and then he would just and he would just stretch the selfie. I mean the selfie stick towards your car. Then you just open the window and then throw the money without you having to be in contact with him. So, and it was an epiphany for me, because I was wondering, they have no news to watch, or radio or television or newspaper or any medium to educate them about COVID, but this is the person who has innovated a solution because their hustle has been disrupted, and then they are resorting to a solution that is able to really keep them afloat. So it doesn't, I mean, if someone from the street can do it, you know, an entrepreneur can innovate, you know. I was just blown away by that, a small innovation, but I was just impressed about how, you know, someone could think about something like that. So I think in the long run, yes, this has accelerated. Someone was saying that COVID-19 has really accelerated the era of digital transformation, and then is really accelerating us into that era at a very fast pace. And then that's why it becomes so important to start innovating even now, rather than waiting for what's going to happen. I know that as a person who have worked in those projects that I told you about, where we are assisting the employees in the banking space, you know, there was retrenchments then, and you know, we don't know what to expect now, you know, because I mean, 3 weeks ago I had a call from someone who had just been retrenched. You know, he was looking for an advice to starting the business. So all those conversations about retrenchments that are coming, I mean, we have seen also a lot of businesses going into business rescue. Adcon, one of those businesses, and other state-owned enterprises, SAA, business rescue, and we are still going to see a lot of business filing for business rescue because they will be in financial distress. Because even though there are reliefs out there, they are not enough to what the amount of damage and the amount of loss that companies are dealing with, and they're not even enough to really cover the damage and the loss that has been incurred by a company. So I think that we really should brace ourselves for maybe the worst of things to come, but we need to prepare and start doing something right now. And the only thing that can help us deal with that is innovation.
Yeah, I think it's realistic in this climate right now with our economy for people to expect to get jobs. I think if you get a job, that's great, but there's not enough jobs around. So you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to learn a skill, find something, just find ways, like you're saying, innovation. It doesn't have what people don't understand about entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking stuff. You literally just have to solve a problem for someone, and that's it. If you can solve a problem for people, that's it. That's a business. That's it.
And with innovation, we're not talking about it has to be this radical idea that's going to change the world. No, as long as you can improve something that has been there and you decide to do it differently, you have really innovated. I mean, I also advise for some entrepreneurs within the fashion and craft industry. So, and what we have done there is to really assist them to because they were also with their skill manufacturing the masks, very innovative designs, very elegant designs. So, and then I was saying that, you know, you just don't have to sell people the mask. This is an opportunity to meet the new customers and use the mask to now introduce them, or use the mask as a bait to introduce them to your core offering, which is fashion. And then you upsell your fashion using the mask as a bait. So that's one innovative process and way that you can do it. It's not rocket science. It's just easy like that. You are now selling the mask. It's not a core service. You just get the people that that buy the mask, but you have to also sell them the fashion that you are designing. And I think that's how we need to look into it. We are selling the PPE. You are getting into a corporate company. This is the time while you are selling your PPE to introduce them. Is an easy conversation for you to start talking about your core service, your products, what your business does. And PPE in this time is that opportunity that entrepreneurs must take. You know, get into PPE, but get into that so that you have an opportunity to start conversations about your product, about your core service, you know, about your business, and using that just as a penetration strategy. So I've seen that this COVID-19 related services and the PPEs and all of that, they are a great opportunity to then introduce your business to some of these new customers, because now there is more attention on this PPE stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, Kondwani is doing Perspex shields now. So we're talking to people that we've been trying to speak to, corporates, about our core services. But now they're interested in talking to us because people are trying to find preventative measures and stuff for COVID-19. So we're talking to people about, I'm there, I drop my profile to tell them that, listen, I do fencing, I do waste, there's other stuff that I do. This is not just the main thing. I'm happy for you to sell you this, right? But
exactly,
going forward, this is what I do.
Exactly, it's taking advantage of the crisis, you know, and then upselling the core services using all these peripheral, you know, services that you do for temporary.
Nice. Okay, thank you. This is very enlightening, Rapelang. You know, sometimes people are despondent, and you know, I think when in crisis, despondent or whatever, but you just need to think outside the box and
definitely
think about what you need, what you want to do, what you need to do. I think at the end of the day, we all just want to survive, and we all want to get through this. You don't want to just survive it. We want to get through it, and people had plans for 20. I think we can still turn things around. Just push what you can and do your best.
Definitely.
I think the most important thing is just do your best.
You know, I was chatting to another entrepreneur, I think 2-3 days ago. So and he brought a revelation to me that, I never thought of that, but he was like, I just thought about what the president said, because the president said in the new normal, the economy is going to be done differently. And, we're just trying to think about what did he mean when he said the economy is going to be done differently. So, and there's a conversation that I was having with one of the entrepreneurs. So what is going to happen, or what is likely to happen, is that a lot of countries are going to resort to localizing the production to stimulate the manufacturing sector, so that they can locally produce most of the stuff that they consume. Why? So that they can revive the jobs that have been lost, because a lot of economies are going to lose a lot of jobs, and South Africa is no exception of that. So a lot of jobs are going to be lost, but the new thinking now is about how do we stimulate manufacturing and ensure that we bring back the much needed jobs that are lost. A lot of stuff to be now around manufacturing. And then he was saying that I'm already starting a chemical production company where I'm already targeting your DTI, your IDC, and all of that, because that's going to be the new conversation. That where are the manufacturers? Where are the labor-intensive industries? And this is where most of the investment is going to go. That can stimulate the jobs to come back to the new normal. So if you are into manufacturing, if you are into, we spoke about agriculture as well, to say that all these labor-absorbing industries, they are going to be the future. And if you want to get into business, into those high labor-absorbing industries, because they are the future of how the economy will look like post-COVID.
Yeah. I think even for government, they have to drive those manufacturing, because they're also trying to get people, everybody's trying to get employment and jobs up. So whatever industry that we need to get those numbers up, that's what government will be driving.
Exactly. There's no any other way, There's no any other way. People just need to ensure that, I was having a chat with another entrepreneur. So she just sells healthy food, promoting healthy diet and all of that. And I was like, you are running a business of the future, because now, because of the paranoia of being unhealthy and susceptible to diseases and viruses and all of that, people are going to be very cautious now about what they eat. This is the right business to go into, because people are going to be more cautious, and there's going to be paranoia, even post, about how do you stay healthy, how do you remain healthy, and diet forms a lot of what keeps us healthy or healthy. So I was just encouraging her to say that, what, you are in the right business, you are into the business of the future, because everyone is going to be very conscious about healthy and all of that.
Okay, and I've just got like 2 questions. I think these are like the final questions. One is from Inanda Dem Lifestyle. Says, what's your take on unfair competition? Highlight on imports. And then from Dozo, maybe even jobs for the future. I think maybe what do the future jobs look like?
Come again with the question. I think I lost you there.
It says, what's your take on unfair competition? Highlight on imports.
Is there the unfair competition in relation to?
Imports, like things that we're importing into the country.
Come again, I'm missing you there. Okay, let me check. What's your take on unfair competition? Highlight on imports. Well, I think, as I was saying, a lot of economies are going to start, clamping down on the trade deficits that other countries have been enjoying, like China has been enjoying trade deficit with all the countries and ripping off the rest of the world with supplying with everything and killing production. So I think this is the time where a lot of economies are going to start looking into how do we localize production, how do we ensure that we're no longer relying on other countries to supply us, but we have to strengthen our local supply. And I know that this is going to, do a lot of, is going to disrupt the global supply chain, because imagine if there's been a normal supply chain where this country buy this input from this one to manufacture this, and all of a sudden everyone becomes self-sufficient. So it's a whole disruption around, global supply chain, because now if we are a manufacturer of, if you have mineral resources, you will want to benefit and limit the exports and all of that. So I think that is the future that we are going into.
Yeah, in a way, for our country to learn to be self-sufficient and to actually work in everything that we do to women. Instead of exporting every single thing, we need to find new supply chains. Have something else where you can export complete to raw materials being sent out and then coming back as high-end jewelry that we have to buy from other people. So we can't wait to have high-end goods from you to do. Instead of importing there's nothing wrong with importing the Louis Vuitton bags, but we're waiting for a local Louis Vuitton bag or just jewelry. I think jewelry is probably very important in the sense because we have gold, platinum, and all that stuff. Yeah. Besides, isn't it so we should start manufacturing all our jewelry here, and then we take all the Cartier jewelry outside.
In those days of massive trade deficit that are unjustifiable, they are really coming to an end. I mean, it's COVID to teach countries that. I mean, I follow what is happening in the US in terms of the entire supply chain of PPE, the medical equipment, ventilators, and other machineries that are needed. They prioritized their supply chain in terms of a lot of factories that are manufacturers of cars are now being closed and turned into manufacturers of ventilators and other key, PPE. To not outsource anything for this COVID, because every country is looking for ventilators. Production say that you close, you start now manufacturing this. So that's what they are doing, and now they call themselves the king of ventilators. They're supplying all those ventilators to the rest of the world, and I think we have capacity locally to do some of those things. So rather than for 1,000 ventilators that Donald Trump promised us, so we should be looking into also how do we strengthen our local supply chain, because we have Janelle, we have other car manufacturing capacity, so we have technical and some of those things, but maybe there is no political will or there is no brave people to really start this conversation. It's time right now that we should be looking into such.
Yeah, this is a time for us to be bold. This is a time for us to just believe in each other, support each other, and push each other up. Yeah. Like
that's the only way.
Joseph said, Africa, our time is now. Yeah, this is our time. If anything, this is a time to
there's no any other way.
Big strides. Yeah, this is it.
No, there's no any other way. There's no any.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Rapelang, for joining me today. This was wonderful, very insightful, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out, Izzy, but we appreciate it. And I wish you well and success in your business. And yeah, anything you want
thank you
to
so
say?
much. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we have been very hectic in some of the work, which is COVID related. So that's why I was saying that there's a lot that you can do and think about around COVID, and we're doing some of that stuff, reprioritizing certain skills and deploying them into other areas as well. I was telling someone that now I'm more busy on the PR and marketing and all. So those are non-skills for me, but this is the time to reprioritize your skill set and do something you've never done before to keep afloat at this particular time. So, that's what some of us we are doing, and positioning ourselves for the opportunities of now, and making sure that we really make COVID work for us, because if it's not working for you, we have to make it work for you. And yeah, I really appreciate this time, and thank you so much for the for the invitation, and thank you so much for the guys that had tuned in. Maybe we just need to mention some.
Yes, thank you
We
so
had
much.
Lebo Murare, we had Mike Property
Inanda,
Consulting, we had Prednim
yay, hi
Konazi,
Bonolo.
we had Ntokozo, we had Mdu, we had Inanda Dam, we had
And Vuvu,
we have Vuvu, my boss.
Mukanjo, no,
Vuvu
oh,
is my boss. So I don't want to mess with her.
okay.
So she's a boss lady, and then Makon Mukhanso, if I'm reading that correctly. So thank you so much for staying with us, guys. So that's Kondwani's show. So
Yay,
that's
thank you very
Kondwani
much.
Group show.
Thank you, everyone.
So we just had to do it the other way around because of activity issues. But thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have another session this Thursday. Also, a post is going to go up, I think, later today, if not tomorrow. Thank you again. Have a nice afternoon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.